Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Coming to you live from the outskirts of the internet here on our comfy couch. It's the Gaming Saloon reviews for November 24th, 2019, with your host, Spacebreaker2448 and Rampant Epsilon.
Hi.
Yes, I butchered the opening so badly.
Could be worse.
Yeah, I could be doing the other opening.
Very true.
But we are back with more Fourze, with I'm not sure how to best describe these batch of 4 episodes. We have what probably feels like a couple of filler episodes, but they're not.
Yeah, they're not because of the background stuff, I feel like, more so than the foreground.
No.
Oh, really?
No, we will see these characters return. They become vitally important later.
Huh.
Yeah, when they say that they are actual Writer Club members, no, they will become actual Writer Club members in a few weeks.
Huh.
Yeah, no, they are not. Yeah, no, they just dropped that, and then the background stuff, of course, and then the second half of these episodes, which is it's a file form debut with a some moral ambiguity, I guess, for the viewer to take.
And I noticed a little bit of a theme we keep liking to try to go with, and the main writer needs to die.
Yeah, that keeps happening. It's one of those cases where I'm like, yeah, Tamari dying in Drive? Yeah, that ain't the first time.
No.
That's not even the first time he died to get a final form transformation. So, yes, here we are. And any specific thoughts before we get into these 4 episodes?
No, not really.
All right. We're gonna first and foremost, this batch of episodes debuted on April 1st, 8th, 15th, and 22nd of 2011. Yes, this first episode did in fact debut on April Fool's Day. And coincidentally enough, I forget if it's the 31 or 32. I'd have to recheck the notes. But the debut, the date for one of those 2 episodes was supposedly the day that Stronger's actor died. Like the actual day he passed away. Which is one of those, wow, that's kind of just a weird coincidence, because Gentaro was portraying Stronger in the Writer Club presentation in Megamax.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, actually.
Yeah.
Huh.
So yeah, we are going to kick things off with episode 29, Junior Silence. We check in with Ryusei, who is dreaming of fighting some past Zodiarts, as he checks in on Jiro, because he's a bit antsy about the whole needing to find Ares situation after the last 4 episodes.
And after the last 2 from this, answering a lot of questions, I can understand why.
Yeah. But meanwhile, it's a new semester for Amanagawa, so there's new students, and Gentaro is all happy and gleeful that there are new people he gets to befriend, because apparently he's befriended everybody else. I guess.
Except for I didn't think he actually had, but okay.
Sure.
We'll go with it.
Also, I need to step away 1 second. I gotta let the dog in. Alright, I'm back.
Alright.
But yeah, specifically one new student Gentro runs into is Haru, who is lost and needs help. And Gentro is, of course, always willing to help and drags him to wherever he needs to go, because I guess Gentro knows exactly where he needs to go without asking him.
Yeah, you noticed that too.
Yep. A bit of hijinks until they are stopped by Haru's friend Ran, who takes over escorting her friend. But when Gentro tries to, be all friendly and stuff, gets flipped for his troubles. That is
which is the recurring theme for this 2 episodes.
Yes, Gentro getting flipped by this girl. The reason she does this is because she doesn't trust seniors. Well, senior students, essentially. Off to our usual classroom, we find out that Usugi is the new homeroom teacher for Gentro and the classmates for Gentro, so Yuki, Kengo, and Ryusei. Gentro, Yuki, and Kengo are seated up front so Usugi can keep an eye on them because they're troublemakers. And also, he won't let go of Sonata being fucking let go. Probably because of them, he assumes.
Well, yeah. I mean, technically,
yes, but not for reasons you think of, and also they don't know that. But yeah, also, while keeping them eye on them class, he's going to just stalk them after class to make sure they don't get into trouble either, because that's not illegal. That's not a bad thing. But elsewhere, we see that Haru ends up getting a switch from Libra because I guess Libra eyes him for one of these new students for a switch and figures, let's just see how they turn out. But because of an interruption from Ran, who finds him lost, inadvertently finds out that Libra is... Okay, he doesn't find out that Libra is Hayame, but he does find out that Libra is one of the staff of the school. So that detail's out in the open now, I think. Unfortunately, we don't really get the follow up on it. Well, we don't get the follow up on it past these 2 episodes.
Which that kind of stinks.
Yeah, but it's because we have other things to handle. But back with the club, they managed to duck Usugi thanks to the help of the Foodroids, as they more or less home alone Usugi to let them get away. But Ryusei, who manages to spot Haru having the switch, decides to follow him. And he eavesdrops on Ran and Haru, just talking about their backstory, how Ran looks after Haru, because that's what she does, and Haru kind of doesn't like it now, since they're older. And he wants to be stronger for himself, and that's why he uses the switch, and he becomes a fly Zodiark. Because, of course, it's fly.
I mean, why wouldn't it be?
Yeah. But he runs off, and Ryusei, who wants to give chase, is unfortunately stopped by Usugi, who's looking for the others, and I love that internally he is so pissed.
Yeah.
He's just like, oh my god.
Of all the
I don't like you.
times.
Of all the times and of all the people, it is you who I literally want to punch in the face. But we check back in with the club, who are back at the hutch, with Yuki saying that, hey, we should try to recruit some new members. I don't know why they're doing this, considering everyone here is recruited because they were in the middle of a Zodiac situation, so I'm not sure that's a smart thing to be calling out.
No,
because that's asking for trouble. But the thought process is delayed, unfortunately, because Shun and Miyu call in as they are in hot pursuit of a Zodiac. And I will make this a note because I'm someone who would recognize this, of an old Mustang. Which I have to think that is probably pretty expensive to put together and maintain in Japan.
Yeah, I would have to think.
Because this is an old 60s model Mustang. Convertible too, and looks pretty well taken care of. And I have to assume it's somebody's on staff, because I don't think you can just rent one of those out for cheap.
Yeah, I have to think it's someone on staff.
Yeah. Unfortunately for Shin and Miyu, the chase lasts exactly 5 seconds because Shin forgot to fill up the goddamn gas tank. Bravo.
Which was probably done intentional, so they didn't take the chance of damaging it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But thankfully, Gento arrives to tag them out and goes off to fight the fly, and more or less has the upper hand most of the fight, because Haru as the fly Zodiac is not exactly that strong.
I mean, to be fair, did you really expect him to be?
No. It wouldn't be the first time we've had a kind of jobber Zodiac that more or less relies on their one gimmick. But Ran ends up dropping by at this point and reveals that the Fly Zodiac is Haru to Gentaro, who is a bit like excuse me, what's the word I'm looking for? He's a bit stunned by this, which lets Meteor drop in literally and proceeds to fight Haru. And he takes him to town, so Ran just leaves. Or not Ran, fuck. Damn it, I missed this the one time. I missed it in my fucking notes. Haru ends up leaving, so everyone kind of disperses from here, so Meteor leaves. It's like, fuck it, I don't like this. You're not even worth my time.
I was gonna say, I think he even made a comment that there is absolutely no way he could be Ares.
Yeah. I wonder why. But yeah, they disperse. So Gentaro gets to talk with Haru real quick to try to figure out what her deal is. With Ran. I mixed it up again. With Ran. Try to figure out what's going on, and she tells him nothing except gives him another flip for his troubles. Because she doesn't trust any senior class students, and she leaves. So we're at a dead end on that front. Elsewhere, we check in with Hayami real quick to show that, yeah, he does have Crabman Switch. Virgo notes that and does give him the threat of being dunked into the nebula for his schemes. But we ain't got to worry about that just yet. Yep. Don't worry, we'll get there. Checking back in with the club. Mainly, Kengo and Yuki managed to duck Azuki getting back to the hutch. Except Tsusugi did follow them to the room where the locker is. And he sticks around long enough to run into Gentaro. So Gentaro is now dragged off to the principal's office. Or at least the teacher's office. I think it's more just the teacher's office, because that's where all their desks and stuff are. So I think it's just their office. Their collective office. So yeah, Gentaro is going to be off there. Meanwhile, we check in with Ran, who tries to talk things out with Haru, but that doesn't work. because he's a bit drunk on the power at the moment. Also, maybe a bit dying from the power, considering how much he changes over the course of these 2 episodes, visually.
Yeah, and I feel like this is probably the first time we've actually seen it this extreme.
Probably because this Zodiart is operating differently, because he doesn't become a horoscope over the course of the 2 episodes, but he does change appearance over the course of 2 episodes. So it's probably the effect of this different kind of Zodiart switch.
I could see that.
But Rand does find out that someone on the staff gave him the switch, which leads her to crossing paths with Gentaro and Usugi at the teacher's lounge office area. And another set of flips later to both Gentaro and Usugi has Gentaro's Mac phone getting stuck open when Yuki calls. And she mentions the rabbit hutch, which Usugi is now immediately suspicious about. It's like, what's the rabbit hutch? A place full of rabbits? Well, yes, that's what it normally means, I assume. Why are you being an asshole? They've cranked you up to 11 these 2 episodes for some stupid reason.
Because technically this is his arc, I guess?
Apparently. Even though it's secretly these 2 kids' arcs, because like I said, they will return for future episodes. Because we need someone regular that aren't Shun and Miyu. And guess who's replacing them?
I mean, makes sense.
Yeah. But Rand also finds out where Haru is, and she runs off to go confront him. It, of course, does not go well, because, again, Haru's a bit drunk on the power, doesn't want to listen to Rand, especially when she mentions trying to protect him. Half the club is also here: Kingo, Yuki, Tomoko, and Jake. And half of them get gunked in place for their troubles. Ryusei, who's also here, manages to run off real quick to transform, and he ends up fighting Haru once more. He kind of gets fed up with this guy and goes to limit break him, but Libra drops off some dust darts for him to fight as Meteor Storm, because we got to prop up that toy. So here's some dust darts, because you can't kill anybody with Meteor Storm in these 2 episodes.
Yeah, the Beyblade can't kill people right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Gentaro ends up arriving to fight Haru instead, and he goes pretty well until Haru figures out how to turn himself into a swarm of flies, meaning he's now harder to hit. Meanwhile, Usugi finds an actual rabbit hutch that apparently is on school grounds.
I don't
know who set this up, but okay, sure. And I guess he gets rabies or something because one of the rabbits decides to attack him, probably for good reason.
I mean, if he tried to jump in your home, would you attack him?
Yes, but I'm not sure if I would bite him.
I mean, very true.
But yeah, although through all of this comedy shenanigans, he does see Kengo passing by, because Kengo was tasked to go pick up the net switch, which has been in the background so far in this episode. And that's number 38. There's a reason I say what number it is. We'll get there.
Yeah. To be fair, it's possibly the reason why you're mentioning it. But
yeah.
The next arc, yeah, I'm like, there's a... I feel like there was an additional reason as to why a certain switch couldn't be used.
Yeah.
And they say it, but no one realizes it.
I was about to say, which switch? I don't remember them saying which switch.
The cosmic switch. I feel like there's a secondary reason. not just plot convenience as to why that's not used.
Well, Cosmic isn't developed just yet.
At this point, yes. That's it. But I mean, within the next arc itself, altogether.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Usugi ends up following Kingo back to the hutch. Properly this time. But we check back in with the fight real quick as Kentaro is ready to pretty much take out Haru since he can't control turning into the swarm of flies. But Rand blocks him and tosses Kentaro once more because she doesn't want Rand hurt. And we end the episode with Kingo picking up the switch, with Yuki telling him where it is in the hutch, only for Usugi to arrive, demanding answers, as he's now discovered the actual rabbit hutch. And, well, that probably won't go well. That brings us to episode 30, Senior Useless. Rand continues to protect Haru, who doesn't appreciate all of the help. Kind of the point of him taking the switch to start with. We'll get there. Meteor manages to finally clear out the goons. But he runs after Meteor tries to attack him, which Rand warns him about, so he turns into a swarm of flies and blocks off. Not intending the pun there, but take it. Rand ends up running afterwards and manages to run into Haru at the one bridge we keep using over the one ravine river thing that we keep using in this series. And Haru ends up tossing their little like keychain trinket thing into the river that they both have. But back with the club, they get back to the hutch and see Usugi's there, and now the entire club, including Shun and Miyu, are now left to explain everything to Usugi. Yay! Don't worry, this is not going to turn into a flashback episode while no one's looking. Rider doesn't really have flashback episodes, if I'm recalling correctly.
Yeah, I think, and it's usually because the whole they tried to recap at the beginning of the episode. Like, do the quick recap. I have to think that's the reason why.
I say that because Sentai, like, 2 months ago, had a recap episode. And I'm like, oh god, I'm not glad these don't exist in Rider. That I can remember. Also, as a quick note, we have Superhero Tyson openings at the moment. And to quote my notes, fuck. Just a little tiny fuck. But back to the episode proper. We check in with Gamao and the rest of the horoscopes real quick as they're discussing events, and we find out that there is a 6th horoscope already in play. They're looking to see if our fly friend will turn into the 7th horoscope. We still have like 5 more to go through. And if you're looking at episode counts, yeah, we ain't got that long to get through them all. Plus the ones that are still kicking. But back at the hutch, Sugi gets the info dump and demonstration of, look, monsters, Rider, you're on the moon. We're trying to help the students. Don't tell anybody. Usugi pretty much is like, no, I gotta tell the principal. We can't have kids doing this shit. No. So the gang ends up going, then you're under house arrest. You're stuck here until you agree to not tell anybody.
Wouldn't it be club arrest?
Pretty much. So yeah, you're stuck here until we can deal with the fly Zodiac right now. So goodbye. More or less, Shin and Miyu are left in charge of him. Yay. Meanwhile, before Ryusei can join the rest of the group, he's informed from Tachibana that his Zodiart, it is at his old school, which, coincidentally enough, if you remember from Megamax, is the school Nadeshiko, well, the human version of Nadeshiko is from. Spoilers, we won't see her. Even though it would have been kind of neat to run into her here, but this isn't Gentaro's arc, it's Ryusei's arc, so
Yeah, but okay, couldn't have had a cameo?
I'm guessing she wasn't available.
Because, I mean, I guess I can see the whole, yeah, it's not Gentro's arc, so no.
But, yeah, because we have a bunch of...
Yeah, I mean, why not have a cameo kind of deal?
Yeah, because we see a bunch of the students, like, in groups. It would have been hilarious to, like, it just out in front, one of them was Nadeshiko. Granted, I think everyone would have got their hopes up being like, oh my god, Nadeshiko's back, and it's like, oh wait, right, that's not her, that's human her, that's not our space alien goo rider her. That might be why they did it, because it's like, oh, if we show actually her, people are going to think she's here. Without taking the quick second to go, oh right, there's two of them. Is my guess.
Maybe.
Anywho, back to the episode. Ryusei heads off to go investigate this, so he's kind of out of this episode for a while. We're back at the river, where Ran has a flashback to when some of her swim mates, who one of them, coincidentally enough, in 2 years from this episode, will be portraying Peko from Gaim. I don't know which one, but one of them is Peko. More or less bully Haru and her dicks, which is why she doesn't trust seniors. Gentaro drops by, hops into the river like he does, because this is how Gentaro operates, and tries to help. All the while, Ran just says no, and doesn't even tell him what she's looking for, and Gentaro has to just go, this? I found it! Okay, no, not that. This? No, okay.
I do love the fact that that's the same bridge that the man keeps jumping off of.
I'm going to tell you right now, this is actually going to be the last location, or the last major location of the series.
I can see that.
Weirdly enough, we're going to mirror the first episode at the end, like towards the end of the last episode outside of the credit sequence. We'll be back at this bridge by the end of the series. And there's a funny note that I read about in the trivia stuff for Fourze related to that scene, which is kind of hilarious in hindsight. Anywho, Ran ends up leaving, so Gentaro is more or less left to search for the trinket on his own. The club also shows up to help later on. But we're back with Yusei. He runs into some old friends who kind of shrug him off for not assholeless reasons, but weird, mysterious reasons that we'll get to. But he does end up finding Libra at the school and goes to fight him, and the two of them have a quick fight scene for a while. Until Libra turns into Tomoko, or makes himself look like Tomoko and uses it to run off. Because Ryusei has a hard time fighting anyone who looks like Tomoko. But we check back into the hutch, where Sugi, through comedy shenanigans, manages to escape thanks to gravity control, being a switch that probably should not be next to the front door.
Yeah.
And also should probably not be that easily flippable. I think that's the design flaw. Just gonna put that one out there. Well, we check in with Haru real quick in class as he's kind of continuing to degrade, continuing to look bad, and just outright threatens a student with murder. Probably a bad sign. That's probably a red flag. But Ran ends up running into Usugi and ends up believing that he's the one that gave Haru the switch because he has the net switch on him at the moment. So just the simple use of switch makes her go, "Oh, it's you! Of course it's you!" But Ran ends up arriving thinking Usugi's bullying Haru. God damn it. I gotta flip around again. I can't. Haru shows up and believes Usugi is bullying Ran and goes last one and goes chase after Usugi, who runs away on a bike.
And actually manages to outrun him?
Yeah.
Question mark? Because it's like, why?
Comedy shenanigans. Look, it's comedy armor. People only believe that there is plot armor, but there is also comedy armor. That is a thing.
Very true.
Yeah, Ran is down in the dumps after seeing this, but Gintro and the rest of the club show up after they have searched the river for long enough to get their clothes dirty and stuff to find the trinket. And this wins over Ran. And they head out to go save Haru. They manage to track him down into a forest, and Gintro more or less just spams different combinations of switches in order to lock down Haru. Doesn't quite work because we still can't counter the swarm ability of his. Thankfully, Usugi's here with the net switch, and he tosses it to Gintro. He catches Haru, finally manages to lock him down. Gintro goes magnet states to blow him up with a limit break, but Kingo tells him that they have to fix Haru mentally first before they blow him up because this switch is really fucked with him. We might need to get him back closer to normal before we blow him. Well, blow him up. Let me rephrase that.
Oh. Yeah, phrasing right there.
Yeah, extreme phrasing. So Ran is up. She manages to get through to Haru. And that sets up Gintro to use Magnet State's limit break. They blow up the Fly Zodiarch, and Haru is more or less back to normal. He still needs some recovery time, but for all their troubles, the two of them are getting provisional status with the club. So, hey, when Haru's back to being better, you two are part of the club. Which leaves us with one last problem to solve. Back at the hutch, the club is meeting with Usugi, and he decides that the club cannot exist unless it has an advisor. And I will be that advisor, and appoints himself as club advisor to give the club, I guess, a buffer between the staff and them. And also to help them out in any situations. Thankfully, that situation is in the next 2 episodes. So we are now +3 club members. Except we're going to end on a mystery note as Ryusei's watch kind of breaks. I guess meaning, it is confirmed through Gamao's dialogue to end the episode, that Ares is the Zodiarch in control of his old school. Meaning Ryusei swapped places with the very person he was looking for. I'm sure that won't bite us in the ass later.
Boy, isn't that ironic, too.
Oh, yeah. Ryusei even makes a note of it. It's just like, oh, the fucking irony of this. And this will not cloud my judgment for later. Which ends these first 2 episodes. So how'd you feel about these 2?
I kind of felt like we were getting the whole filler episode with some minor background importance, but now that you're saying that, it's like, Okay. Well then.
Yeah, no, there's weirdly enough, all three of the people here that these two episodes are about are important. Like, Haru and Rand will return, and they will be important. Usugi becoming advisor is also important because he kind of becomes the longest appearing club member at this point in the franchise because he's appeared more times than anyone else, really? Anyone from the club outside of Gentaro?
Also, is it kind of weird that I feel like Gio made way too many mistakes?
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Because it's like, because
it's almost like...
Come to think about it, too, looking at it, they kind of, like, hard screwed Fourze.
Yeah.
Like, just all the way around. It's like, some of the other shows, they just really whoopsed on some major points, but no, they like hard screwed it.
It's almost like stuff like this made me hate Gio really early on and made me really nitpick the show. And those nitpicks turned out to be, oh yeah, those are symptoms of the larger problems of the series.
And it's one of those I can understand why now.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah, because the Tokusatsu Network recently did a 3-part podcast doing a retrospective on the Heisei era. And one of the people, when they were talking about Gio, kind of said it best of, if you didn't know about these shows outside of like really basic information, a lot of the mistakes with the continuity will go right over your head. But if you know these shows, oh boy, do you notice every freaking problem, every single little problem that they make. And it makes you realize the writers didn't know that much about these shows, did they?
And you know, that's what's so weird. For the most part, Gio was only focusing on within the first, 15 episodes of each show? Like, most of the time it was within the first 5.
Yeah.
Why didn't they at least just sit down and watch the episodes up to that point and kind of get a feel for it? Like, that's what kills me. They don't have to know the entire show.
It's almost like there should be a story Bible for the writer, for the franchise, or at the very least for each of the individual shows. And you should be able to look at that and go, okay, this is within the first 10 pages, I should have enough information to write for the series. Because, yes, story Bibles are a thing. That's a thing the writers of Gio should have had access to for every single show and be able to go, oh, I'm using this character, flip. Everything I need to know about Ryusei is right here.
I don't even fault that part of it. I honestly don't. Like I said, the bulk of the problems that I have to think came from they just didn't know anything about the show, and why not pick up, if you're going to cover the first 15 episodes and do something where Gio intervenes somewhere in the middle of it, why not at least watch up to a certain point and kind of get an idea of, okay, if we do this, this is going to happen.
Yeah. I'm willing to chalk it up of, oh, we want to muck with continuity, but we need this stuff. But we want to muck with continuity, but we don't want this, but we need this. And it's just a case of, fuck it, we don't care. Okay. It's this way because we need it this way. Supposedly.
If they were going to do that, then why not do a kind of maybe like a multiverse of sense kind of deal? Where
because
the thing actually happened within the original universe, but then it kind of branched off, and maybe Geo's world was the byproduct of every time those branches happened.
Because no one had that thought until 40 plus episodes into the series. That's what happened.
Yeah, because Geo had to get rebooted, what, twice?
Yes, and depending on how much you want to consider the concepts of Geo more, if you want to headcanon it that way.
Like, it at least had two major turning points.
Yeah. Yeah, these two episodes were good. I completely didn't even realize the two of them were that important until I was checking stuff, and I was like, "Oh fuck, no, you are important. You come back later. You are super important." But any other thoughts before we move into the second half?
Nope.
Okay, then let's move on to episode 31, Subaroroshi Kingdom. I probably said that terribly. I don't remember how they said it in the show. I don't even remember that they did say it in the show. I think they did, and I just missed the pronunciation. Yeah, I just missed the pronunciation. Anyway, essentially, Meteor's Old School Kingdom. So last time on Kamen Rider Meteor, for reference, the recap for this episode recaps Meteor's story and kind of acts like, oh, here is a recap for the theoretical Kamen Rider Meteor show. Which I kind of like.
Yeah, I kind of like that too.
We check in with Ryusei outside the hutch as he finds out that the student he did the exchange with is the Zodiarch. He doesn't know he's Aries yet, so it hasn't kicked him in the nuts that hard. He ends up asking the club for info on the student, and we find out his name and that he was a theater student. Yamada is his name, and how I'll refer to him. They showed footage actually from the first episode. I don't know if he was sneakily in there in the first episode or not. I didn't go back and check.
To be fair, I don't think I did either.
Yeah. But in other news, the club is gathered around the synthesizer for the switches as we see that the final switch, Switch 40, the Cosmic Switch, is now complete. Thanks to them also making a Switch 39 stamp.
Yeah.
So now Fourze is complete and he has access to Cosmic States. Gentaro heads into the test chamber to go test it, but it will not go into the belt. It kind of like sparks and sizzles and it won't go in it. So he decides to like pop it open and starts hitting the big red button on it. And then it starts saying danger at him. And as established in the series, Gentaro doesn't understand English very well, so he has no idea what danger means.
And keeps smashing the button.
Yep, and the rest of the club does, and they start backing away from the window because, that doesn't sound good. Eventually, the switch literally tells him goodbye before exploding.
Because of course.
As a note, the actual DX version of the Cosmic Switch does do this.
Oh God.
It only does danger 3 times before it explodes. Or before it says it says goodbye and does an explosion noise. But no, the toy does do this.
That's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Also, shout outs to the moment where they're talking about how Cosmic is basically the culmination of all the other 39 switches and the data they have collected from them.
Mm-hmm.
39 doesn't get used before this.
I assume it got tested since they already knew of 39's abilities, so
But to this, I'm also gonna say, just about every Switch has had the unique little quirk too.
Yeah.
So yes, testing is fine, but until they've actually battle tested it, how do they know exactly everything from it?
It's one of those cases where maybe this could have been a 3-parter.
Yeah. Yeah, like we could have broke the whole 2-part deal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe padded it a little bit to kind of, fill in the minor gaps.
Or 39 could have been used in the last 2 episodes, so it's like, oh yeah, all 39 Switches are used at this point.
And maybe could have done something like, in the last episode with like a teaser shot of the Cosmic Switch being finished.
Yeah. But back to the episode.
Minor point.
Yeah. Back to the episode. The Switch is okay, though. The explosion is more or less just a comical explosion. But apparently something is missing at the moment. So Gentaro can't quite access Cosmic just yet. Ryusei
almost like every other form change.
Almost like every other final form change, to be honest.
I'm just meaning every other form change for Fourze in general.
Yeah. Anyway, Ryusei starts to head back to his old school to investigate before the club more or less rope him in to explain the situation. Which leads us to Gentaro, Yuki, and Kengo accompanying Ryusei to go visit the school, thanks to Uzugi getting them an invite from Hayame, which totally doesn't have ulterior motives.
Yeah, he totally is not trying to set up to, kill Fourze.
But they end up running in, at the gate, they end up running into some old friends of Ryusei, the ones from the last episode, specifically Mei, who's called Ryusei's girlfriend the entire time. And that gets weird, having foresight for the series. Because, spoilers, this is the first and last. This will be the last time we see Mei in these 2 episodes. So, I guess you weren't shipping them, because that doesn't happen. Anywho, she ends up giving Ryusei a book that he lent her. He didn't. Before the group, before Gentaro, or before they head out, trying to get the train, thoughts in order. But as they head out, Yuki kind of splits off from them to go visit the space club that they have, leaving the 3 boys alone. And Gentaro says, "Oh, I saw the real Ryusei there for a second," when he shrugged them all off and is just like, "Fuck, I don't know why you're all here. Leave me alone. Let me do this alone." And Gentaro has a bit of irony himself as he says he will accept anything from his friends. Maybe don't leave that so open, Gentaro. You might not like where someone's going to take that. In about 20 or so minutes.
Yeah.
But the group does eventually head into the school, and they run into Yamada later on. I believe in the director's cut, there are actually a shot of them attending class here before they run into Yamada. I think there's some weird organizing of scenes in the director's cut, which I think might trip me up on what's in the director's cut and what's not. So, like I said, there is a director's cut version of 31-32 that cuts them together into just an hour-long episode. And there's one important added scene at the end, but otherwise I think it's mainly the same stuff, just expanded in certain areas. But anywho, they end up attending class where the teacher is not very good at English. And Yamada ends up correcting her in a very suspicious manner that feels like the norm. We also get a shot of him with a this box with a bunch of people's these cutouts of a bunch of different people. That's totally not foreshadowing for something. But later on, the group is back together out of class, and they look in the book, or Ryusei looks in his book and finds a note from his friends telling him, leave, you shouldn't be here. Leave for your own good, or else you are going to be put to sleep forever. Not in a murdered kind of way, just you're going to take a very long nap.
Someone will die if they don't leave, but it won't be him.
Yeah. But thanks to Yuki talking to the space club, where we find out that those people don't even want to be in the space club, but they are here because they are trying to follow a script. Under threat of being put to sleep, they end up getting put to sleep by Ares himself, because they stepped out of line. Ginter and the others arrive in time, and Ares reveals himself as Yamada, because of course he is. Who else did you think it would be?
Well, I mean, we don't need to spend the whole two-parter on figuring out who it is.
Yeah. We get a cute little double transformation from Gentaro and Yuki, with Gentaro doing his normal transformation and Yuki mimicking it. Words and all, I liked it.
Yeah, I liked it too. And it also made me wonder why she couldn't be a writer, even for like an episode.
Because we don't want to bring the Nadeshiko stuff back and have her borrow the Nadeshiko driver, I guess. Anyway, Gentaro and our goat friend are taking the fight outside, and unfortunately Gentaro has his modules start failing and turning off on him, and also he starts feeling sleepy. And so does everyone else in the club. And oh no, we're all under a sleeping curse. So things are not going well for the club, and Gentaro gets his ass handed to him. But Ryusei heads off to transform and intervene, only to get information as he asks if Ares can wake somebody up, which he demonstrates by waking up one of the 12 people that are apparently around the corner asleep out in the open. That totally doesn't draw the cops' attention. Why has no cop come by?
It needs cops when you have riders.
Apparently. But Ares demonstrates this, and Meteor, with his friend's Zodiac switch in hand, because we now reveal that he's had that on him the entire time.
Which, that feels weird.
Yeah, I feel like we should have had a scene at some point where he takes that out and, like, mulls it over. But Meteor, satisfied with his answer, just bugs off while Kengo and Yuki fall asleep. Gentaro, fortunately, is not caught up in this, as he is dragged off by May and the other two people that follow May that I don't remember their names of, and I don't think they were even named in the show.
I don't either.
But Ryusei checks in with Tachibana, and Tachibana tells him, hey, work with Gentaro and defeat Ares so we can get his switch and study it. And we'll save Jiro that way. And Ryusei immediately going, fuck that. No, I can save him now. No, all he has to do is wake him up, and he just has to press the switch, and then everything's fine. Right? Like, what? Why? I don't want to do this. I'm not doing this. So that's not going to end well for someone. We check in with Yuki and Kengo as they are pulled into one of Ares' plays of sorts, with the teacher from before and another student. But a little bit before that, Hyaime drops by to talk to Ares, and Ares more or less brushes him off because, fuck you, I run the school. Why would I go back? it more or less just intimidates Kamen before he leaves. And then he does the whole messing with Kingo and Yuki and a few of the other students. And they more or less fail and are set up to be... They're not executed yet, Eric. We're not talking execution just yet, are we?
I don't think.
The people who fail here are put to sleep for good. In a not dead way.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah. But Gentaro does find this out from Ryusei's friends, and he's just like, I'm gonna go fix this. I'm gonna go punch him hard enough that he'll blow up. Because that's what I do. Before all that happens, we do get a scene where Ryusei does approach Yamada. We don't see what happens, but we'll get there.
Yeah.
So yeah, as all these people are gathered up in a warehouse, Gentaro intervenes and fights off Ares and the Dustards, which gives an arriving rest of the club, with Shun and the Paradise and the Resistance, who are Mei and her two friends, I guess, manage to get everybody to safety. But Gentaro does manage to get the best of Ares for a while, especially with the help of Stamp, which puts a stamp on somebody that blows up after a few seconds. He goes Magnet States and is all prepped and ready to put Ares to sleep for himself, except Meteor drops in as Meteor Storm and deflects the limit break. Uh-oh. He then proceeds to beat the shit out of Gentaro repeatedly. Very brutal, very cruel. And even tells him that if you're willing to do anything for your buds, then die for me. So, for reference, if you watched one of the times I streamed Super Climax Heroes, and there was a fight between Fourze, Magnet States, and Meteor, it was referencing this scene. The dialogue that played before the fight was the dialogue from this scene. Spoilers, how I did that fight is not how this fight goes down. So Ryusei just beats the shit out of Gentaro, breaks his transformation in Magnet States with a limit break, then picks him up and does a 5-finger death punch straight to Gentaro's heart, canceling his transformation out of base states, and leaves him on death's door on the ground. Tachibana, of course, furious about this, cancels Ryusei's transformation as Meteor, revealing him as Meteor as Ryusei to the entire club. Oh boy. They question him as, what the fuck? Why did you just do this? And he explains the deal he cut of he would help Ares essentially kill Gentaro if Ares would wake up his friend so he could turn the switch off and let him heal. And Gentaro takes this surprisingly well as he's laying on the ground, dying. As we literally see a heart rate monitor just beep across the screen as he gives this talk to Ryusei about it's like, it's okay. It's fine. You saved your friend. That's the important part and stuff. And Gentaro dies. Just flatlines as he gives this speech. And we end the episode on him dead. Like dead. He's dead. He is dead. He is dead. Ryusei dead. Killed him.
or as Tachibana later says, not quite dead yet.
Sure.
No, he's dead.
Yeah, sure. As we see later. No, he is dead. So yeah, this takes us to episode 32, Super Space Sword. So to put this lightly, the club, on the other hand, does not take this well. They are, of course, pissed. insists that Ryusei went and murdered Gentaro. So they pretty much all swear him off and tell him to quite literally fuck off. Kengo probably is the only person that gets right up in Ryusei's face over this, since he's the one that actually runs over to check on Gentaro to be like, are you actually fucking dead? Oh my god, you're actually dead. Oh god.
And I feel like if Ares didn't try to make everyone go to sleep right there, Kengo probably would have punched him in the face.
Yeah. So, Shun and the Powerdizer tries to attack Ares because, everyone's pissed at the moment. But he just snaps him to sleep, and the rest of the club, minus Kengo, who manages to fight it off enough for Tachibana to remote control Meteor Spike in to give him an opening to get away with Gentro's slightly warm corpse at the moment. So this leaves Ares to plot out a new play, while Ryusei has to deal with the fact that he's just murdered a man. Yeah, that's not gonna feel well. We check back in the club, who are now in the school's uniform, and they are forced to take the role of the student council, who are going to execute the resistance. And they all say, fuck this. And I love that Jake is the first one to step up and be like, nah, fuck you, and literally tears up the script in his face and tosses it.
Yeah.
That's some growth for Jake to be the first one to step up.
And I love the fact that he's even like, I'm usually not the one to say this, but yeah, no.
So with the club saying no, Yamada is like, fine, I will just switch who's who. So now you're the resistance who will be executed by the resistance, who is now the student council. Bear in mind, Ryusei's in the room the entire time with this and is more or less silent watching because, the thought of murdering someone probably still on his mind a little bit. But for the club's efforts, a couple of them do get beat up. Shun, I guess, gets his leg injured, so he's hobbling for the rest of the episode. Also, Ryusei is just once more continually berated by the club, and Tomoko even revokes his title as writer. I love that Tomoko is our official bequeather of the title in this series.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, back at the hutch, Kengo is trying to use the whole hacking the driver to pop the medical switch and trying to use that to, I guess, resurrect Gentaro. Because I guess in his mind, you can heal death. Like, you can use cosmic energy to like heal death, right? That's just an illness, right?
I mean, sure.
Usugi's also here because he needs something to do for these 2 episodes, so he's just kind of hanging out, being like, oh my god, Gentaro's dead. Oh god, what are you doing? Oh god, why are you doing this? Oh god, what's happening? To be, I guess, the one normal person in all of this. I do love that his, probably, his first day as advisor is just, oh yeah, by the way, Gentaro's dead. Yeah, we all went off to school, and then we ran into a goat man, and then Ryusei killed him, and now me and him are the only ones back. Everyone else is stuck at the school, and I don't know what's going to happen to him. So, it's a bad day. But this is where Tachibana calls in to offer his assistance by saying that the answer to fixing the cosmic switch and making it work, and also for healing Gentaro, because he's not quite dead apparently, is apparently on the back of the hutch outside. But we check back in with Ryusei real quick as Yamada makes good on his deal. He wakes up Jiro, and Ryusei gets him to turn off the switch. So that problem solved. Too bad it's not quite as solved as Ryusei wants. But before we get into that, Yamada is whisked away outside by Virgo to go meet Kamau as he inducts him into the horoscopes, gives him the coat and stuff, and then sends him back like, all right, that's good. Go do your thing. That's all I wanted. Jiro talks to Ryusei about, in vague terms, what he did, and pretty much tells him, you fucked up. You did it wrong. Why'd you do it this way? You shouldn't have done it this way. So Jiro's condition is kind of worsening now, as the doctors say that he doesn't want to be healed. So Ryusei is now left with, well, I killed one friend. I'm about to lose another friend that I killed the first friend for, and everyone hates me. This sucks. Kengo ends up finding the message on the back of the hutch from his father, who literally carved it into the side of the hutch. That is some very clean carving he did.
Yeah.
And it more or less tells him, hey, you need friendship to make the space magic work. Like, literally, you need friendship to make the space magic work. And Kengo realizes, fuck. If Gentaro is the reason all of this has worked so far, is because he is literally the embodiment of friendship. So we check in with the club, who, of course, are now set to be executed by the Resistance. And they, of course, decline, because that's fucked up. We ain't doing that. So Yamada goes, fuck it. I'm gonna transform, summon some dust arts, and they'll kill y'all. Except they are interrupted by Ryusei, who literally comes flying in from off screen to kick Ares. I love the framing of the scene, because you just see Ryusei sprinting full speed, just drop kicks Ares. And he shows up, takes the driver out, puts it on the ground, and pretty much goes, I'll fight him. I'll take him out. Not for atonement, but because it's the right thing to do. And I got nothing else to fucking lose. So let's go. So Ryusei, with no driver, no transformation, no weapon, nothing, is going to fight a bunch of dust darts in Ares on his own.
And actually stand his ground.
Yes. Because remember, for a while, because oddly enough, Ryusei is one of the few modern riders who has actual prior fight knowledge or prior fighting capabilities before they became a rider. So yeah, the Resistance take this opportunity to free the club, and then they all run, which I find hilarious, because like, oh, we're not going to help Ryusei? Nope, we're just going to run. So, like Tommy said, it goes well for a while, but unfortunately for Ryusei, even though he gets to say his catchphrase out of suit, he will not be deciding anyone's fate today. But we check back in with the hutch as Kengo more or less just shoves the cosmic switch into the driver, because if the magical switch won't work, fuck it, friendship's got to bring him back. So he has to just believe that it'll work. And we actually check in with Gentaro, and what I presume is the afterlife, as he is walking towards his parents. His, may I remind you, from a few episodes ago, dead parents. As he goes off to join them, only for Kengo to call him back. From death. From the literal afterlife.
Because that's how that works, right?
Yes. So after telling him that, like, you can't go, you can't leave, we need you. We can't protect the school without you. Kengo, into the spirits of the rest of the club, minus Ryusei, mind you, literally pull Gentaro back from death itself and spiritually transform him into cosmic states to revive him. I can't help but love this, as the literal power of friendship has revived Gentaro.
I mean, friendship, wisdom.
Yep. So, Gentaro is back, and even though he is only 2 minutes from, only like 30 seconds back from being dead, he's ready to go fight Ares, ready to go save the day, and even to get ready to go help Ryusei, because Gentaro is a very, very fucking forgiving man. And I do mean he's extremely forgiving.
Yeah.
As Kengo even knows, after he brings back Gentaro, just like, you're gonna go save Ryusei, won't you? Yes. Fine. I got you back. That's all that matters. It's water under the bridge, I guess. So the two of them go out to save the day. Meanwhile, we check back in Ryusei, who is thoroughly trashed at this moment. His jacket's open. He's all beat up and bruised. He's like about to fall over as the club come back and tell him to stop and to run. It's not worth it. But Ryusei refuses because, as I said, he believes he's got nothing left to lose. Only for, as he collapses, Gentaro arrives and catches him, more or less shocking not just the club, but also Ryusei, because he's back and alive. And Gentaro takes the moment to help fight off the Dust Stars with Ryusei, and tell Ryusei, hey, I forgive you for killing me. It's fine. You did it for your friend. You're a decent guy. I know that. It's okay. And then the rest of the club, I guess, just gets to play along with this because they all more or less forgive Ryusei as well, because it's like, I guess Jake puts it best. If the man that you murdered forgives you, what am I gonna say? So Ryusei's back on good terms, and I gotta step away to let my dog out before he gets into something. Alright, I'm back. So with Ryusei helped to the sides, Gentaro slaps on the Fourze driver, slaps in the Cosmic Switch, transforms, turns on the Cosmic Switch, and all 40 switches, plus the switches yoinked out of the food roids, fuse into Fourze, creating cosmic states. And with the literal power of space in his hands, he thrashes Ares. Since Cosmic State's unique ability is to mix switches together, more or less mixing their capabilities. It's once more one of those cases of, this won't be used that creatively because we ain't got the budget for it. So yeah, like rocket plus freeze gives you like exploding rockets that freeze people. So, like I said, Gentaro thrashes Ares, and a pretty good fight scene that, if you've also seen the Axel Returns movie, kind of feels similar because some of the shots are kind of the same. It's because the stuntman was injured at the time, so they couldn't do a lot of on-foot stuff. That's why there's a lot of wire work. But Ares will not take this lying down. He goes supernova, and is kind of pathetic looking because all it does is his horns unfurl, and he gets some things on his shoulders. And of course, the club is concerned about this because, oh shit, he went supernova. If he blows up, it's going to be a big explosion. But Kengo's like, it's fine. because Gentro decides to answer the supernova by opening up a warp gate behind him and shoving his ass into space, and then proceeds to do a big old slash with his giant rocket sword and blows up Ares in space. In literal space. But what's here is the new scene I was talking about from the director's cut, because Gentro pulls Yamada back to where the fight was before I guess he suffocates in space. But the Ares switch does get pulled back with them, and Virgo picks it up and leaves. And delivers it to Kamal since, well, got to keep that going. We wrap up with Jiro recovering. Jiro is recovering. Yamada is taking a very long nap because of the side effects of using Ares. And Tachibana is working with the club now. And has the club helping to hide Ryusei's identity as Meteor from the Zodiarts. And Toboko even bequeaths the Meteor driver back to Ryusei, calling him Secret Kamen Rider Nigo, which is a nice little touch. So yeah, that's these 2 episodes. Tommy, how'd you feel about them?
I felt like they did a real good explanation of things that we kind of needed.
Yeah.
Also, I kind of find it funny that out of everyone that Gentro could go against, he gets killed by Meteor.
Mm-hmm.
and bad
killed.
That I almost could see that one coming, though.
Yeah. It's also, weirdly enough, one of those things of just like, oh, a confrontational secondary rider. I mean, unless you go this far, I don't care. It's whatever. Oh no, they have differing opinions on stuff. It's almost like that's a good thing. That's fine.
And it's almost like they won't at some point find a way to get around that.
Yeah, you have Gentro literally being murdered by Ryusei, and Gentro completely in character being like, I forgive you, because you did it for your buddy. You did it for a reason. And then you tried to make up for it and tried to do the right thing. I respect that. But yeah, this is a really good 2 episodes, a really great debut for Cosmic. And thankfully, Fourze will be a good show and actually show that like Cosmic's a really good form and not job it out in the immediate next 2 episodes. Geo. So yeah. Any other thoughts?
No.
Alright then. I guess next time we will pick up where we left off here. We'll be properly introduced to Leo, as I saw from the episode previews, and I don't remember what comes after that. 1 second. We will get, we will start getting spammed with horoscopes after that.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, we gotta get through this. We have exactly from this moment, if I can make it back. 16 episodes, and we have 5 more horoscopes to get through, plus the additional 3 that are still kicking. So yeah, we gotta get through this. Anywho, that'll do it for me and for Tommy. If you like what you've seen, drop us a follow. We really appreciate it. Chipping away that follower goal / affiliate goal. Exhibition Point Discord gets you the Discord. Drop on by, have a chat with us. Drop some questions in the Dropbox that is in Discord. We'll happily answer them here or on TGS. Depends on where the question is most relevantly answered upon. And if you want updates on when we go live, at TG Saloon is where to go. So, see you next time, folks.